Well, allegations of sexual misconduct are rocking the national security world. More than 220 women in that community have come forward to say that they have been harassed or assaulted or know someone who has. In an open letter, they write, "We call on the national security community, including the Department of Defense, the Department of State, the U.S. Agency for International Development, and the Department of Homeland Security, the intelligence community, armed forces, National Security Council, think tanks, universities, and contractors who support them to take a comprehensive set of actions to reduce the incidence of sexual harassment and abuse in the workplace." Kylie Atwood is CBS News reporter for the State Department. She joins me now. So, Kylie, who are these women that are coming forward, and what are they saying exactly?
Well, these are women who have been in the national security realm, served for the U.S. federal agencies, or are currently serving in the national security realm. And as you said, there are more than 220 of them who have put their names on this letter. And what it says is that they are themselves survivors of sexual assault or sexual harassment, or they know women in the national security realm who are. And the reason that they are shining a light on this is that they say that it has held women back in national security, or it has forced them out the door, which obviously hurts national security if they are women who are productive members and are being turned away from their work because of the harassment that they've faced. And one of the women who signed this letter I spoke with, and she was at the State Department, and she was an entry-level State Department staffer who put together intelligence briefings. And every morning she presented those briefings to a group of men. They were all more senior than her. And what she said is that those men would have conversations about who was having sex with who they were interested in terms of women, their looks. And she sat there as essentially a fly on the wall, trying to pretend that she didn't hear what they were talking about. And so that was really demeaning to her. She didn't feel that they were really taking a look at her work. They were talking about other things which were completely inappropriate. And I also want to point out that national security is specifically susceptible to sexual harassment and sexual assault happening under the cloak of silence. And that's because there are certain reasons that they have to, keep their cell phones off in certain meetings because of security reasons. And so there really isn't evidence for all of these instances that these women have experienced.
So, Kylie, what is the action that they're asking the intelligence community to take right now?
Well, they say that there are sexual assault, sexual harassment policies in place, but they're weak, they're underutilized, and they favor the perpetrator. So what they want to see is someone, the leadership of these agencies, taking a stand and trying to really change this culture. They want to see there be mandatory exit interviews for women when they leave federal agencies. They also want to see there be better training on sexual assault, sexual harassment, and they also want there to be a body that collects these stories and puts them out publicly so that the public knows and understands what's happening and what they can do to change it.
In these areas, there's long been a gender imbalance in the workplace, especially at the top of these institutions. Is there anything that they're calling for to address that at this point in the leadership chain?
You're exactly right. So in this letter, they note that 30% of the leadership in federal agencies is made up of women. And that's a pretty jarring statistic when you consider the fact that in the entry-level positions, that lead to these senior leadership jobs, it's pretty much 50-50. And so women are leaving, and they think one of the reasons they're leaving is because of sexual assault and sexual harassment. Obviously, it's not the only reason, but they want to change that. They want there to be more of a equity in terms of men and women in terms of leadership roles.
It's a very important story. Kylie, thank you very much for bringing this to us and to our attention. Kylie Atwood coming to us from our Washington bureau.